Hello, welcome. I'm Elizabeth Christensen, CleanFacts editor. This month, First Onsite Property Restoration launched a life sciences division and appointed Kellie Matzinger as Life Sciences Operation Director of North America. So today we welcome Kellie and dig into the additions, the science behind hydrogen peroxide technologies, and how restoration is driving control strategies. So for those of us who don't know you, Kellie, tell us about your background and how you got started with restoration and what your role at First Onsite looks like.
I'll try to make it quick. This is kind of a long story, but proud to say that I'm a Montana native. So I live in Bozeman, Montana. Graduated from Montana State University here in Bozeman with a degree in microbiology, laboratory or clinical laboratory science, sorry, but never made it into the clinical laboratory space. I was recruited very soon after college to work for a biological indicator manufacturer here in Bozeman. Thought I would be there for a very short period of time and ended up staying there for 23 years. So during my tenure at that company, I found out very, very early that I loved interfacing with customers when it came to validation, cycle development with biological indicators, that learning about the different modalities of sterilization or biodecontamination cycles, ethylene oxide, chlorine dioxide, steam, so on and so forth. So I really did that for the majority of my career and learned as much as I could about sterility assurance. And then got really interested at the end with hydrogen peroxide technologies. Hydrogen peroxide has been used for a very long time for the sterilization of medical devices. But here, these new hydrogen peroxide technologies, especially the low concentration hydrogen peroxide technologies, are being used for biodecontamination and high-level disinfection. So when I left, I explored that a little bit, did some consulting for a couple of years, and which led me to First Onsite. So it's surprising because the industries that you interface with, or I interfaced with in those 23 years, range from pharmaceuticals, medical device, nutraceuticals, food safety, research laboratories, and restoration. I mean, restoration companies utilize biological indicators. They really do. So I met a lot of contacts. I still have a lot of contacts, and they led me here. So very exciting.
That's great. And I really believe that all of these industries are tied together and a lot of the sciences overlap these different parts of our world that we have.
Absolutely.
Well, and I'm so glad you landed at First Onsite. So can you tell us about First Onsite's launch of its life sciences division, and
Sure.
then why the company thought this was the right time to launch a life science division, and
Sure.
what you hope the division will accomplish and what new opportunities you think it'll bring?
Absolutely. And that's kind of a long story as well. But we really have been in the life sciences space for a long time. I mean, since probably the start of the company. But it's been in a very reactionary way, when disaster doesn't discriminate. So, it's every industry that has unfortunate circumstances where a restoration remediation company has to come in and restore the environment to what it was before. So our hope, I think the industry is shifting a little bit in the life sciences area, in the fact that they are becoming more service driven or more open to sourcing outside service companies to come in and do some of this work. A lot of companies own OEM products. They've chosen a technology to use in their facility, but that's not using it, putting in a closet, and then taking it out to use it. It's not that easy. You have to calibrate the equipment, maintain the equipment, repair the equipment should it break or something falter with it. And then you have to ensure that your people are trained to be able to use these technologies. And with, we all see it, whether you're monitoring LinkedIn or not, companies restructure, people leave companies, and what are the chances that you're not going to have a person that is skilled to use this technology, right?
Right.
So I think that's where we come in. All of the life sciences industries that, that we really are targeting are those industries who are heavily regulated. They're regulatory, whether it be the FDA, EPA, CDC, BMBL, EU Annex 1 documents for pharmaceutical companies. Um, their regulatory states that they have to do in-depth cleaning, high-level disinfection or bio-decontamination if it's pharmaceuticals, and they have to validate those processes. So this is something that they have to do. And regardless of the verbiage in these regulatory documents, they really align with what are the risks in your facility, risk analysis. How do you propose that you're going to control or mitigate the risks in your facility, which would be contamination control strategy? And then how are you going to validate your chosen strategy? So I think that there's a need. Our company, our team is very, very knowledgeable in all of these areas and can assist. So we're anxious to get out there and be the all-encompassing company where, we're not only thought of when something bad happens, but we're thought of as a preventive solution as well.
Yeah, that's a great pivot to take. I think it's spot on, with
Mhm.
how restoration is going, diversifying.
Yeah.
Well, and I know you had mentioned before you've recently studied the hydrogen peroxide technologies here, um, particularly in the application of high-level disinfection and biodecontamination for critical environments.
Mhm.
So I know that was a lot of big words there, but for our viewers, could you explain this technology and how do you expect this research to be a part of your new role?
Absolutely. I mean, hydrogen peroxide is fantastic. It's been used as a sterilant for medical devices for many, many years in small sterilizers. It's kind of been adopted for whole room decontamination and high level disinfection as well. Um, what I like about the low concentration technologies, and there are some that I like more than others, but hydrogen peroxide is miraculous in the fact that it's very efficacious. It can kill contamination very, very effectively and then becomes completely innocuous. So the H2O2 molecule relatively quickly dissociates into water and oxygen. So there's no residuals left behind, chemical or otherwise. So I think they're fantastic technologies. What is appealing to me as far as the low concentration aspect of these technologies is the fact that when you're mitigating contamination risks at your facility, you're looking at those risks, but your EH&S personnel at your facility or anything involved with safety are also looking at the risks to whatever technology you're bringing into your facility poses to those who are using the technology or maybe around the technology. And I think that the low concentration peroxide technologies pose less risks. It's not carcinogenic like some of the other modalities. It's not mutagenic. And then, like I mentioned before, the lack of residuals. So I think they're fantastic technologies and I think a lot of people are moving in that direction.
Right. I keep hearing about it more. And the other thing is hygiene. What's driving hygiene's growing importance in restoration?
Well, I think that, I just joined in January, but, I've worked with this company for a long period of time and they have it right. When you're going in, depending on the facility type, um, in any fire or flooding situation, what your number one concern would be mold growth, right? And so when we come in and do restoration and remediation, we can physically remove the visual, you know, mold. But what about any microorganisms that are left behind that we can't see? So I think that, the end stage, if you're doing it right, really is a terminal high level disinfection to ensure that everything is removed.
And that leads perfectly into my next question. Why are standards and regulations more important to restoration professionals now and before? And why will they continue to remain critical moving forward?
Sure. Well, I think that, in recent years, there's been a higher level of scrutiny on all of these companies that we categorize under the life sciences umbrella because, you're protecting humans, you're protecting animals, you're protecting these critical environments. And there's a higher scrutiny on those companies. So it's really, as I stated before, it's expected to, do a risk analysis, come up with a strategy, validate the process. It's not something that you can skimp on anymore. You're really under the magnifying glass to hold these companies accountable, these industries accountable.